Okay.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I
Mm,
will just like finish writing the email.
yes. Ooh, okay, yes. Right. Molina. Hybrid. Okay, I'm working here. I'm working in the Tibet Highland. Uh,
Okay.
uh, Tallinn Hybrid.
Ah, okay, because it's Stalin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, maybe how should we do this? Shall we maybe you go first and then I go and then we
Yeah.
just talk?
Yeah. And also like this one we can upload, right? I think it will be nice because
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Like, let's see.
yeah,
Let's.
exactly. I mean just
Let,
so that we
let's
don't start attacking someone. I don't know. We don't
yeah.
do that, but so I mean as always I just time coded, but like overall I found it's like to me it's really funny. Like I was laughing a lot like watching the video. And I'm just sharing this not just because I found it funny, but I remember that uh, when I was talking with Becca after the show or the day after or something, that yeah, she was also like mentioning that she was like cracking up, but then like nobody was laughing, so that was like weird for her. And now I understand because I remember like when I was in there, I was not even like trying to be funny, like except some explicit parts that, this McDonald thing, okay, that can be funny or but then there are like little things like I think there are some parts that I was reminding the cues and so on that was like the way I was saying is like funny for some people, but in the crowd, I think they were not laughing so much. So that's
Yeah.
like something I found like as an overall thing that for bits and pieces.
And you think if for some people is that is people that know you somehow, that's the people who would think they're more funny?
I think it's more like a context that it's just like a humor that some people find it funny, some people. I don't think it's really related to. I mean, it could be related, but also like I don't think so. I mean, but this is also like a strategy that I was using that I know you might not like when I say Marika, but that was like something that is, targeting very specific person in the audience. For example, Claudia was there, so she would understand. And I was also saying something funny in Estonian that was like not meant for everyone to understand. I mean, that's coming from myself, but I think that worked well, especially because of this dynamics that we created during this installation and so on. It's not separation of the performers and the audience, but audience is kind of like the actors, right? So that we're all actors. So it's not like we have to make everyone laugh, but we can just target this person or that person. Also, I remember that when we were interacting, for example, the McDonald's station, well, Chris came to, interact with it after my presentation, but also you're calling William. I just noticed in the video that we were like, really like talking to specific people.
He didn't
Uh,
came.
no, then Chris did, and he was actually like really funny because everything I felt like everything was off like in our conversation. Anyways, um, so um, I don't know what to talk about this whole projector thing. But
I know, by the way, like I know now, by the way. So I know it's like is well known. I forgot to tell you afterwards, but now that I was watching it again, it happened also to Peter in when we were in POM and he researched M1s and M2s. How it happens sometimes for no reason. They have that
Wow,
HDMI, they have HDMI problem. So it
it's
has to
crazy.
it has yeah, so it's a computer. It's the M1,
Wow,
M2. They do this HDMI sometimes, really randomly. Because
it's
Peter, I remember he was exactly in the same situation with you in the presentation, and he tried everything.
wow.
Less, I mean, he tried everything
I even
less.
restarted, I and it
He,
didn't work.
yeah, I don't know. So that happens sometimes with I remember with
Crazy.
Peter, I never saw it, but he told us afterwards because everybody he did everything also,
Yeah, yeah,
bro,
yeah.
tried everything and it didn't work. So
Yeah.
it
Wow,
happens sometimes as right, it is really random.
crazy. When you do performance or presentation,
We
that's
need
the
to we
condition.
need to find like we need to find like a backup plan. What happens, for instance? Like we need
Yeah.
to
I mean,
do.
it worked, right? I mean, it took some time. I mean, but there's this like, so I
But
will
it
just mix some feedback from people as well. But like at one point, I mean, so thanks for like covering that part. I think it was working well with you, and also sometimes like sound from Robbie that was like covering, like when I was like troubleshooting or the technicians were troubleshooting, it was good. I think that things were happening in parallel so that it's not like we're waiting for the projector to be fixed or something. Although it could have been shorter, but then there was this Yulia from our school, HCI person. She was saying that so you were saying that when much is too much. And then she was like kind of connecting this to the projector thing that it's going so long, but then yeah, when much is too much. Like that association. I didn't think about it, or I wouldn't have thought about it when I was watching the video, but she made that connection. I find it's interesting. Mm,
Mm.
yeah. And then and it's like when we did the practice, I noticed that like I kind of like became, back to the person or human. So I started like, okay, like what's going on? Like I started like almost like venting. It's not like venting, but like I
In the practice, when are you talking?
practice because then so we cut Touch Myself song. I cut it because it was not working. The projector was not working, so we can't do this. And then I just said, okay, let's do the practice. And then at like that the moment I started saying like, okay, like blah 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 that I couldn't say in the scenes or the cues before because that was supposed to be like I'm performing, quote unquote. But then
But
in
wait. So
practice,
I need to understand. So what was because I don't remember how was the score that we said because I don't remember. I just should have a pic. Maybe I took a picture of that.
yeah.
How was the order or how we said the things were
So
happening? I don't remember.
so after the installation, so you do the Cumbia workshop and then Macdo presentation.
Wait,
I give
give
the
me a
Macdo,
second. Give me a second. So installation, then
well, Cumbia workshop, that's part of installation.
yeah.
Then Macdo. I mean, I can write it because it's so because
Yeah,
song, explore, and then
the cumbia.
Cumbia. Can we make this pageless? Uh, pageless. Okay. So Macdo is a presentation and then interaction. Uh, then
What do you
the
mean?
next
The last part,
is
interaction part.
folk song, and then touch myself.
So that's what I'm trying
Prac-
to. Yeah,
So
you can.
just can I just go through practice and then cumbia uh 1 and 2, something like
So
this.
so it was after. So we did the MacDo, and then we went to the folk right after the MacDo or not?
Yep,
Yeah.
right after. Yep. I mean the with.
And
in
then
this
what we
case, it's
did
clips.
not is then, so the touch myself is that
Yeah.
it was, but when, because you said you mentioned to do it during the practice.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And then Cumbia was, when the time was over, we did it.
Okay. I see.
Oh no. And I don't know what was. Yeah, so because this was like loaded, the first part, especially I giving the presentation, and then everything was set. Actually, I forgot that this nail salon was supposed to be here after Folksong. And then, yeah, like it was like really like we're performing. So I couldn't say like, oh, this is not working from my as like my voice. I can say as a presenter, of the Mac like the Macdo presentation, I can mention that, but that's not me saying that I'm stressed and this is not working. I cannot say that because there's audience and I'm presenting for the audience.
I think I'm a bit lost with what you're saying.
So so when I'm presenting, I cannot just speak from myself because I was stressed. I was not happy at all that the projector was not working for this
Yeah,
random reason. So I was
yeah.
like really pissed off. Didn't really know how to do, what to do. And as Chris told me later, we should have stopped it. I mean, we could have stopped it, but we didn't stop it because that's how we work. To me at least, I thought. And
Mm.
it's also like I'm not pretending when I'm presenting, but I'm not pretending that everything is okay. I'm acknowledging, okay, this is not working, but let's try to watch the presentation here on the small screen. Just as if, like I'm super chill and as if I know what's happening. So that's why like some people commented that, like, well, they're not from dance, but they commented that was it actually scripted or not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like not panicking at all. Well, not maybe not, I wouldn't say at all, but I was quite chill. But then as soon as we go back to the practice of 20 minutes, I started saying like all the things that I wanted to say because like, man, it's not working, like what's going on? Like from like as now to like as not as
Ah,
someone
okay, I
performing,
see.
but like I'm just like I feel like that was more like a venting. Like I was like, come on, like what's going on?
Okay. Can you do like, can you try to do an exercise also?
Yeah.
So that's why also was the proposition. Because so I think so this of course like this is very it's interesting for us that you're bringing this, but can you also speak from relation to what you see? So what you see in the piece? Because for so what I'm speaking is from like this objective place. So and if you speak for some things that are just stories from you that we cannot see. So if we can, so I'm just mentioning not to stop you because I think it's important to have this reflection, but to do in relation to what you see. That's why it was the exercise of watching the piece.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so how to say it? No, I totally get your point. And also like that's why I was how to say? No, I totally get your point. The way I was seeing this is that like this is something I noticed when I was watching now. And then of course I relate to my memory, so that's like
Of
coming from
course.
first person.
Sure.
But then as me, knowing me, like it's just like the character completely changed. But that's, if someone who doesn't know me, I don't know if they would recognize it or not, but it's just like my way of talking or like gestures just like completely changed in the practice.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
maybe just I will just like also comment something and hold it because I will expand on down what I give my comments.
yeah,
But so now it makes sense. But I think in the future try to exaggerate that so then we can see it from the outside. Just keep it in mind there somewhere.
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
then I expand how or to situate this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something interesting because basically like this whole situation was not planned or it didn't happen before. And I'm glad that the technicians came to the
They were
stage.
inside. Like this guy is so nice also because they are sometimes inside so that
Yeah,
yeah it
they
adds
actually
more.
both came,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
in and
definitely.
out. And that
Yeah,
was like that was real. So
yeah, 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 yeah,
that's
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that when you said, like exaggerating this, like I feel like this is something that we need to see how we work. Like, on one hand, it should be like communicated, like you said, exaggerated. But on the other hand, it's just so real, like how the technicians were, for example. And I see that in the practice, I was like the authentic self, whatever. But this is like, we can keep that as a something that in our mind. I mean,
Yeah.
now that this happened and we did it, so this is like something to, yeah, I mean, this is exactly the process of like feedback to the next one. So now we know what to do, or yeah, to
Mm,
use
we don't-
this
I mean, we don't know
opportunity.
really, but yes.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the lens will explode or something next time. Uh, anyways, okay. So actually, like when I comment, I said about this already, but like you were saying this on the way to the train station. I think that works during like nail salon, which was completely didn't work, but I think it was good
That happens.
that you were like, I would say like covering, but also like I see that the whole, like most of the time there were like so many things happening in parallel. I mean, especially in
Mhm.
the installation, it's obvious, and practice it's obvious that um yeah, like practice, like I see that like how we were practicing before, that we're just in our zone most of the time, but then sometimes we talk, or like sometimes there's like the path cross,
I see.
but it's not all the time. And it's like really explicit, like it's not like we know that, okay, let's do this with eye contact, but it's like we really have to like, almost like negotiate. And mm, actually, like, sorry, like I'm just like going back and forth, but I mentioned this nail salon when you were saying this on the way to the train station, and then also like I was trying to troubleshoot at first in this like nail salon part, but then the way like I started to be like really calm, and then you were narrating, and then also Robbie was making sound, and then the
Yeah,
lights were for the nail salon, and this
yeah,
became something different, something like
yeah, yeah,
something new. That was
yeah,
something new.
yeah, yeah.
I was a new space, or I don't know, new, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And what else? So the cracker cleaning. Yeah, for example, like in the practice, this things in parallel. Like Jorge was saying the dismantle, etc., etc., and then I'm saying, oh, yeah, I was like replacing the hat with my plushie, and then I was giving this hat to someone. But that was like
Yeah,
the moment you were talking about dismantle
yeah,
master's house.
yeah,
I wonder if you were facing, you were sitting at the desk, because that was also interesting. Now that I think of it, was really interesting that you really created your zone because you're not like facing inside, you're facing outside
What do you
when you're
mean
at the desk.
outside? Ah,
W-
yeah,
w-
like out. Yeah, yeah, out of
yeah,
the space.
yeah,
Like, oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So for example, like when I used the cracker at first, I guess you were not seeing it, right?
Say it again. When?
So I used the cracker at first. I think quite a lot of people were surprised because it was really spontaneous at the
Yeah, yeah,
beginning
yeah,
with the
I was
crackers.
surprised. I didn't notice. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
I was surprised.
yeah. Because yeah, because you were like facing, not facing to me or to
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
inside. So that's something. Um, okay, so that's that. And then, yeah, for example, like this was like people were actually laughing, but I stopped the song
Yeah, but it does. Yeah,
and I said maybe, and then people were laughing.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then we played the Touch Myself with the cue. I think everything was good with I don't know who was giving the cue with the cracker, but I think this dynamics, this whole like conversation, the coordinating, that was so. I mean, that was real.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also, like, it was good that Robbie was doing this solo just before this Madre Fuego song. I mean, the cumbia, because I was busy with changing, and you were also changing with costume, and Robbie was really doing a solo to
What
fill the
solo?
space with
The
the tape
loop.
recorder and stuff, and
Ah,
loops
yeah,
and
yeah,
tape
yeah.
recorders. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
that was really good. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think that's it.
All right. So, you can see where I am.
Wait, I need to click yours. Yeah. Okay.
So, Sarah, so these are feedbacks. So too short, give time, don't switch too fast
So
between
wait,
things.
Sarah is Sarah Lily Alawi?
Yes,
Okay.
Sarah or Sarah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So give
Sorry.
time, don't switch so fast between things. As you mentioned, also this of the use clear silences sometimes. Sometimes
Mm,
it feels like you guys are running because of time without exploring some elements. I would like to see going deeper. And she was saying in one word of another, how far can you take some of these elements, which is connected to this idea of dance or what I know from dance, body and dance, tension and the fact of creating loops. And that's the guy. I mean, a good example of this is the show that you see together with me. The guy just doing one thing, but he's just taking it to an extreme, and that's what dance is about. From like in a classical way. Um, so Oksana is saying that it's too short also. And also she gave me this remind. I don't know if you know who is Beavis and Butthead.
I don't think so.
It's are these two MTV characters from the 90s
Okay.
that you have to see. There is that's a video of 3 minutes. You have to see them. I mean, I think most of the people in the West saw this. Like I grew up with that, so it was really funny to imagine us like who is Beavis and who is Butthead. Um, and she loved it in general. She was very excited about it. She said it is a piece that never finishes,
Mm,
that never goes to perfection. David says that it was really good stuff. You guys are working on really nice angle, refreshing. Also, I was checking them in the 360 camera during the piece, especially the two of them. Um, he said also that he's maybe a bit too short, changing too fast is good, but maybe not. Yeah, so the changing too fast from things. This is connected what
mm,
Sarah is saying for me.
yeah.
Like changing too fast from things is not allowing for this things that are maybe interesting for the audience to experiment within the language of dance, like to just stay in the loops and then just use progression. Yeah, so generative progression in the loops, how they expand. Okay, so these are comments based on your voice messages that I listened a few times. So the first one you speak about the body of what I put as the construction of an scenic body that is not the same body of being outside. So you said at some point that this is based on at some point you were speaking You were mentioning on the performance you did in Colombia.
Right.
So you use the words, the ground of the technique of the movement is the same. Its quality of movement, it's different with character. Um, so my notes, I said like that I disagree. So the movement quality looks the same, but the actions are different. There could be more exploration on body structure, proposing a specific body.
I
Uh,
see.
that's what I'm trying to mention, that if it's not exaggerated from what I see from outside, it's just the same.
Yeah.
I can, even though you're in a different state, and it doesn't have to change that's the whole point. And this is more like especially when you enter, or what I know from when you enter a body through the character, which is something that is more, I learned it through a theater, not dance. Then through a theater construction of the body, actually what they do is the opposite. So from a big body, what they do is maybe all the construction of the character is in the glasses, so, and then all that character is in all that body character is in doing this movement or an adjustment, and it's just here. So
Mm.
it's just from the outside that becomes something that is, and that's very scenic, which for instance you do is quite clearly with when you're cleaning,
Mm.
because you have this action that is quite specific. So the body
Yeah.
construction is clear, and
Mm.
on top of that, then you can do other things, because it doesn't take away that we understand that you have the proposition of your movement is going down. That's what I mean with the clarity of the body's down cleaning. So you're doing this, and that's a clear composition of the body. From outside, you can read that's a different body than the previous body.
Right.
I like the card shuffle.
Can
I
we
understand
add
now.
this? I think that's really
Yes, yes, of course.
clear. The yeah, sweeping. Is sweeping. Yeah.
I
Right.
think specifically that could be something that you could develop more than with because you have characters, is like finding, and as I said, you could use from that angle, like from the act, from what I understand as acting, or the construction of a character in theater, uh, the body character, that you can explore some of these characters, and then finding something that is body wise unique on them, that it give you this physicality. So yeah, as in the guy who's cleaning is sweeping, so it gives you, so it's about building a body. Um,
Mm. Yeah.
I propose here that at some point to do we can do a dance research, because not only on use, I'll also, so I don't attach my body presence in terms of character, because I approach it differently. But in my own notes, I know that it's about my intentionality. What is the body doing in certain spaces can be more clear for me. So that's something that we could do. I think we could do a research at some point, like a body research in PAF during, yeah, to make clarity. Then we can aim for this idea of, yeah, how to exercise clarity, because it's about exercising clarity, which is becoming like a nitty gritty thing. But that's the work of yeah, that's the work. Um, eh, the card shuffle of the scenes of the piece. Okay, so what I understand, because I was reflecting also, this is something that you're doing for a while. Like, in Dortmund, for instance, like the proposition, how I work, it was coming from you. And so this is something you're doing for some time. You have
Mm.
this instability. Uh, so the material is learned, and that you were speaking on that also, and that the material is there, but then you find ways how to then shuffle it to create this freshness. And I think it's interesting because you have a practice on that. So you have some space that I don't have. So you have more practice on that. And that will be interesting. But I think that it must work, explore into it. What does it mean? Must work, explore into his. Yeah. So I think it's interesting. But then again, with this idea of clarity, then it must explore the idea of choreographic processes, or yeah, the whole thing that I'm speaking is about how to create nuances to make differentiations. So that from outside, you can see when is this and when is that. Because it's not,
Yeah.
if not, then everything becomes flat. And that's what I use the word choreographic. And so I'm not speaking about the body, I'm speaking of the choreography more. When I'm speaking about choreography, it's more about thinking on how somebody look at you. The
Yeah.
body is how you present your body, but the choreography is how you handle that. The way who I'm speaking here is how you present the attention for the people. So yeah. So I think this idea of the nuances of the card is interesting, but then I think we must think on on the on the choreographic processes there. Um, then then is the movement needs clarity. It goes back to the same
Yeah.
uh, repetition. So this is something that this is coming from you, that repetition through the practice, and then I put it as in practicing so much that different sets, what? As in practicing so much, different sets to keep the work fresh. The order is different every time. I did this in the, yeah, this is
Mm.
just beside this. So this is a question mark for me because it's interesting what you're doing and you have a place on there, but that could be,
Mm.
just a question mark, like how to find a way that we can use it and still present clarity within um a framework that is unstable by nature. Say, for instance, in I agree completely with you. Say like I think the piece was very fun. I enjoyed very much. It seems that the audience also enjoyed very much. It was very functional in the sense of we were trying to research audience interaction, and it was there. So it was successful in all these levels. But also it has there was quite some element of uncertainty because the things were fucked up,
Yeah.
right? So this is something uh that we need to find how maybe not necessarily by fucking things up, but just by the framework and practicing, we can uh we could be in the state. So somehow it's like using some system like a card shuffling system, while also applying the rigorosity of, I would say, academic approach of dance. Um, that
Yeah.
will be interesting. That will be interesting, but then we need to find, and at the end, that what it means is, to me, it needs just practicing, because the more we practice, the more things by it will settle by itself. So, for instance, in the second piece already, I feel we both are already in a different place than the first piece, and it will happen more. The more we practice the piece with people, the more at ease we will be more with the material. Um, so it's a question mark, but I definitely think like that is very interesting to find this loose or this not randomness, but this chance element of the cards, shuffling cards, and then with some rigorosity of dance,
Yeah.
of dance to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
So sorry, I know that you have more comments. It's just that Pablo wrote me that uh,
Okay.
they're gonna, yeah, they can talk. So, and anyways, this call is ending in 5 minutes. So let's see. I mean, so on the weekend, I'm quite free. So I don't know how you are, but it,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I
also
will
we have
say
to talk about the
Romania.
technical, I mean, the, yeah, logistical things as
Practical.
well.
So
So
I would say let's like maybe I will say then let me check with the bill. Um I think my feeling is that it seems that we should my feeling was that we need to have two sessions, like one to do this in the time that
yeah,
it needs, and then to start then to talk on Bucharest.
the practical
So
things. Yeah,
I will suggest if you have time to finish this today at some point, we do it.
yeah,
Uh, I will be free after. today after 4.
Okay. Yeah, this should work. So that's 5, let's say like 4:30, 5:30.
4:30 my time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
5:30. Yeah. Then we check in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to wrap this up, yeah,
So let's just meet there and then I come back
yeah.
to
Because I have
the second.
yeah, I have a lot of like practical things about like what you just said about the cards and the, let's say, the research part, how we can go about maybe just to keep it short. The way I see it is that first of all, like I don't have time. Like this is like it's so brutal that how the place I am in. But then at the same time, I can see that there's a potential of like seeing this as part of my research, so I can repurpose. And basically, like the direction I'm trying to think now is to use these cards for my PhD research, so that how I can, because this can be digital and analog, so it like works perfect if I share this as a practice, let's say like an archiving practice for dancers. So this is like a kind of the direction I'm going with my research. And then if I start to think about this, probably like I will have find like justification, find a reason to do this research that you mentioned as part of my research. And I think that would work well, so that I don't have to separate. This is my time for creating piece and this time for doing my research, but find a good connection so that if we do dance or body research, then I can use that for my PhD research and for the performance. That's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah.
I was like connecting in my head
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that should be the way how ideally
Mm.
could work. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it needs like and I think so it's good that we just stay there and then we just come back to the second message, but it was about the audience. Is because I think in general I'm putting in my notes yeah, I think it's interesting is just that we have different angles. So for instance, I said now so like one of the things I said now not coming from that makes it fresh to try things out. So I'm thinking that I could have so in a way like it's interesting for me, but then there are some things that I'm saying I could have an overlook of things and suggest when things are feels not right.
Or
Um,
something to improve, or I don't know how to say. Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it seems for me interesting, but there are some moments, some things that from my experience that it was the process that we went through. I thought like just to give you carte blanche, but at some point then I was thinking no, but there are some things that I know that just then I mentioned when, and that's the way how we balance. And I think the same could be from the movement and then this approach to the body and the choreography that we can. So then it's interesting for both. So then I'm learning from you, and then you can learn from me.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But let's come back at 4:30 then, and
Yeah.
then go in the audience interaction part.
Great. Okay. Then
All right.
thanks a lot, and talk to
See you
you
later.
later.